So here we are, episode 1 of the Fight Feed podcast. I'm Stephen.
And I'm Michael.
And tomorrow we are looking at UFC Fight Night Woodley versus Burns. So I guess there's been not a lot of fights on recently. I mean, because
the past couple of weeks there was fights. There was 3 fights within a week. Was it 2 weeks ago?
Yeah. There was 3 events put on within a week. But before that, there hadn't been a lot. We've also been waiting since then.
Yeah.
But that's not to say there's not been an awful lot happening on social media, things like that.
Right off, innit?
So, to be honest with you, I think we've got quite a bit to talk about in terms of UFC. And I think me and you are extremely happy that UFC are now back.
Oh my God.
And taking off.
Life is just not the same without the UFC around, is it?
It's not in the slightest. And I think like this has really shown the world that, I mean, UFC done it first. I mean, there's not much. I think sports are starting to dribble back now.
Slowly but surely.
But UFC was first to do it. They've led the way, you know.
Guinea pigs.
Safe way to put on events, and UFC have done it. I was also hearing an interview with Dana White, and he was actually talking about the amount of eyes that have actually been put on UFC from betting. See,
really?
Because obviously a lot of people are addicted. I mean, they love betting. They need to be putting some sort of coupons on. And betting anything, people love it.
Yeah.
There's not been any sports to bet on. And see, obviously when it came to Gaethje Ferguson, that card, there was a massive like influx of bets getting put on UFC. So it's like it's obviously bringing more eyes to the sport, which is good. But I guess we should just crack on right into this and let's talk about tomorrow's event. People that obviously don't maybe know where we are, we're in Scotland. You could probably tell by the
accent. Kind of gives it away, doesn't it?
I would imagine they'd be able to tell by the accent.
We could have moved somewhere though.
Of course.
I wouldn't like to move anywhere else though, to be fair.
No,
I love Scotland.
The only thing that with us is these events are normally on from like 1 o'clock in the morning,
silly o'clock,
through till 6.
But we do stay up for quite a lot, to be fair.
We do. I mean, if it's a really decent card, we will stay up for it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we'll maybe just get it on.
Or set an alarm and just get up and watch like the co-main and the main event.
That's normally the thing to do. So, obviously tomorrow the headliners are going to be Woodley versus Burns, right? So,
pretty looking forward to that, by the way.
There's quite a wee bit to talk about there, actually.
When it comes to Woodley,
obviously been out. I mean, how long has he been out now? He's been out almost like, is it a year and a half? Is it almost 2 years, perhaps?
Was it March he fought? He lost his belt in March last year.
To Usman.
Against Usman, yeah.
Yeah, and Usman's only defended it once since. But obviously with Woodley and Burns, I just don't know what Woodley we're going to see tomorrow.
I know.
It's a bit, I feel as if his performances are kind of like up and down. There's either he waits on someone to bring the fight to him, in which nothing really happens. He's just waiting for that right hand.
I don't think his last fight is like a true reflection of the Woodley that we grew to become a fan of.
No.
His last fight, he literally just never showed up.
I think that was exactly it. I don't think he showed up as well. He actually looked defeated the entire fight. Now, I guess we've got to give some props to Usman. I mean, he did put the pressure on him from the get-go.
He fought the perfect fight.
But I feel as if Woodley can normally deal with pressure as well. At some point in time, they can actually I feel as if he just gave into it.
I thought so.
I mean, he was on the ground. I think the amount of top time that Usman had on that entire fight was just insane.
Basically on top from the get-go.
Yeah. I feel as if he was taking him down at will, had him up against the fence the entire time, and
he
it was
just lost. He ran out of ideas within like the first minute.
Yeah, and it's like he's obviously done so much more stuff career-wise now. He's doing rapping. I know he's doing that. I don't know if he's trying to get into acting.
I think he actually came out after that fight and admitted to having too much on. There was just too much going on in his life at that point. So that's kind of he said it's not an excuse, but it was like one of the reasons. He wasn't focused solely on that fight. I
feel as if in UFC, you probably need to want it. You really, really need to want it. I mean, especially if you're the champion, you've got probably so many young fighters think, I want to be champion. That is all that they're thinking in their head is, I want to be champion.
Exactly. They're trying to take what you've got.
Exactly. So I don't think like if you are champion, I guess it probably could become quite easy to be complacent, especially if you're getting a rapping career, an acting career. I was also I was listening to Dan Hardy the other day. Actually, it was just yesterday. I was watching something.
Dan Hardy.
I know he's really good. He's amazing at breaking.
I could just sit and watch him all day.
He breaks down fights so well.
He's unreal.
He's always been kind of. A lot of people don't think he likes Tyron Woodley because of all the stuff that he's obviously had to say about him in the past and things like. he just never very like positive towards him. But right. I think it was something he was saying though yesterday. He was just saying that he can normally tell when like a fighter wants it, like when a fighter enjoys fighting,
right?
And he seems to think that Woodley doesn't enjoy fighting. He says there's 3 parts of it. There's like being an athlete, there's actually being a fighter, and being an MMA. Like obviously knowing MMA. So there's like 3 parts of it. Right. You can get so far with being an athlete. Mm-hmm. Obviously then you can be a talented MMA fighter, and then there's just being a fighter. And what he says is, we're getting joined. We were rudely interrupted.
There.
So yeah, pretty much all that Dan Hardy was saying that is he gets the feeling that Woodley doesn't actually enjoy the fighting. I mean, he's amazing at it.
I don't
he's
understand how anyone can enjoy that. It's a certain breed.
Justin Gaethje,
he literally lives for it, man.
Conor McGregor,
Cowboy
loves
Cerrone.
Fighting.
I think Cerrone loves it.
I mean, you need to love it if you're going to be like fighting 5 times a year. Do you know what I mean?
Definitely.
And he doesn't make the best money. I think you've got to enjoy it.
100%.
Definitely. But that's just kind of what Dan Hardy was saying, that like maybe the motivation wasn't there because he doesn't enjoy it, and he's maybe. In his words, he was saying that Woodley just wants to be famous and like be known as a fighter,
Right.
So I think his take on it was, I mean, if the passion isn't really there and the hunger's not there.
It looks like it's back though. Like I follow him on Instagram. He looks like he's been training like a beast.
Yeah.
He's been training in Thailand, all over the world, like getting the best possible training for this fight.
Yeah.
And he's been calling out everyone, like Colby Covington, like he's wanting a fight. We were due to go down to London actually, which is a touchy subject.
That's a very touchy subject. Obviously,
I'll let you explain what went on there.
Tyron Woodley and Leon Edwards was headlining the UFC London. And we had managed to actually get ourselves pretty early tickets. They were amazing tickets, not far from the actual octagon. I feel as if like they were genuinely the perfect tickets. They were such good seats.
In the house, man. They were pretty expensive though. The tickets were what, 220?
I feel as if they were about £220. Yeah, I feel as if all the cheap ones, because I seen on online that people were going crazy just how fast they sold out.
Yep.
But I feel as if that was for more like your £50 to £70 bracket, sold out really, really quick. Yep. But when you're into UFC, you don't mind spending that wee bit of money and supporting
that's
UFC
it.
as
Especially when the events were never hardly in the UK.
Exactly.
It's like once in a blue moon. Like
we've
once
been
a
to
year,
the one in Scotland, and I was.
Oh my god, that was probably the best day of my life.
That would have been. With the Scotland one, but I mean, the England one would have been amazing.
With those seats, man. Oh my.
So we started nearing obviously closer to the event itself, and
it was right up into the wire as well. We thought we were going.
The coronavirus kept getting closer and closer to Scotland, and I feel as if it was genuinely like the week before.
It was the 14th of March.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was the 14th of March. Let me check.
And I feel as if it was pretty much the week before we were still thinking, can we go? Can't we go? And then, like, to be honest with you, if they hadn't cancelled it, I feel as if me and you probably would have still went. Just suited and booted and all the protective gear.
A full body suit.
But so a week before they finally like cancelled, and then that kind of made
March 21st it was.
21st. So I'm just trying to think when the actual cancelled it.
We went into lockdown. Was it on the 24th in Scotland?
Was it 24th?
So that was before we were even locked down.
But yeah, it was before we locked down. But I feel as if the UFC cancelled it quite late on, so which made our job a bit easier, and we got our money back and stuff. But I would have loved to have seen that fight.
Genuinely, I hope it comes back to London.
I really hope so.
Back to Glasgow actually.
I know.
It's much closer.
Yeah, a lot closer. The Glasgow one was
some good fights for us, man.
Yeah, had a lot of the Scottish fighters on it as well.
4 or 5. I think 4 of the Scottish fighters got knocked clean out. One person.
Joanne Calderwood. Yeah. She lost to a decision. Stevie Ray get knocked out.
Bad off Paul Felder.
By Paul Felder.
That was brutal to watch that.
And then Paul Craig got knocked out by Roundtree.
So he did.
Brutally knocked out. I don't think he'd ever been knocked out. So Scotland did not do very well.
It was a pretty tough night for Scotland.
It was.
It's horrific.
It wasn't the best.
The guy won though.
Your boy from Edinburgh. What is his name now?
What's his name?
And that was such a scrap.
Dan Henry.
Dan Henry.
I think it's Dan Henry.
Is it Dan Henry?
I think it's Dan Henry.
That was an amazing fight.
Who was his last fight against? Was it Ige? I think he got stopped off Ige.
Did he? He went on a bit of a streak for a while, stopping people. But
there's no one really that special in Scotland.
Not yet. Not yet. We're hoping there will be soon.
Prospects.
Aye, there will
You're
be
a prospect.
Soon. Aye, I'll be getting there as a prospect.
That's about jiu-jitsu, don't you?
I know. I'd get knocked out with a miss.
So
but obviously, back to Woodley. Obviously, we would have loved to have seen that fight. Woodley was wanting Edwards to go to America to take the fight, which is probably quite good that he didn't, because I mean everything got cancelled anyway.
Sometimes they're more important than fighting.
Now, I think a lot of people are thinking the fight might be quite easy against Burns. I feel as if they're writing him off.
Really?
I feel as if people have been writing him off. That's what. Like, I don't know
what
what the odds are on that. On that fight just now. I don't know who's the actual underdog, but I would have thought it was Burns. It was the underdog.
I don't know where would you get
the stats probably on.
And that's the first event at the UFC Apex, is it not?
Yeah, it's just opened back up. I feel as if they're leading the way. They're definitely leading the way.
I'm not sure what the odds are on that, but my money is on Woodley.
Yeah, that's kind of what I got to talk about. So it's like,
I think he's probably got that hunger back again because he's lost the belt. It must be hard to stay motivated when you've got it all. You've got the belt, you've got the money.
100%.
But then you've lost it all. It's all been taken away from you.
And he's genuinely not fought since he's lost his belt. So, like, I think that's the hard thing about not really being able to tell what he's going to be like, you know. I don't think he was ever the most regular fighter anyway. But, I mean, that is quite a big layoff.
I hope he bounces back. I really do.
I do as well. I mean, look what he done to Till. Do you know what I mean? I counted him out, I must say. I counted him out of that fight. I thought Till was rising really quick, and he was just... I thought he was going to take Woodley out, to be honest.
I thought that as well.
Especially the fight that like he had against Wonderboy. The way that obviously Woodley really, really struggled with that. And obviously Till can actually manage to pretty much almost knock Wonderboy out at some point. He knocked him down in the fifth. So personally, I thought... that Till was definitely going to beat Woodley.
So.
And I'd like if it was that Woodley.
He looked pretty cold and clinical that night, didn't he? He looked amazing.
He did. He did.
So good.
So I feel as if it's that Woodley, then it's going to be pretty good.
Hopefully.
Burns, obviously, did he used to fight at 155? And he's came up to 70.
Sure. I'm going to look. We watched his last fight. They knocked out
the Damien Maia. Yeah. And that's... To be honest, I'm not saying it's no easy feat, but I mean, fighting Damien Maia is always a tricky one.
Wasn't able to stop him.
Yeah, exactly. Fighting Damien Maia is never ideal.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
He's an expert.
He's an expert, and as soon as you start getting tangled up with Damien Maia, it's dangerous.
Good night Vienna.
It is almost good night Vienna. You can be
what happened
out.
to Ben Askren as well against
Maya.
He made it look easy.
He did actually. So yeah, we were actually finally getting on to Gilbert Burns.
Yep.
I heard his jiu-jitsu is good, and that is kind of which will probably make Woodley want to keep it standing. How do you see it going? So what's your predictions for...
I reckon second round knockout for Woodley.
Really?
I think he's going to come back vicious.
Yeah.
Wanting to get a highlight reel knockout and make a statement so he can get that title shot.
Right.
That's next up for him, I think, title shot.
You think so? Right, okay, we'll go on to that. in a minute.
I'd like to see him fight Colby,
Yeah.
I'd love to see him fight Colby.
Yep.
There's a bit of history there.
I would probably say... What am I thinking? So Woodley... I'm definitely... I would put my money on Woodley. Yeah, I would probably say late second to early third TKO.
Right.
Because I think Burns will be putting it on him. Because obviously maybe like the potentially thinking there's a bit of ring rust. He'll be thinking that obviously he needs to push the action, take it to Woodley, because Woodley will just sit back and wait for his opportunities, and I think that's exactly what he's going to do. He's going to be able to sit back, wait for his opportunity. He'll probably get put against the fence like he normally does in the famous way. He'll spring off the fence. He'll just land the right hand. So you're saying second round? I'll say late second to early third. I think.
I say middle of second round.
TKO.
Yeah.
And then so if obviously if he wins this fight, would you have him fighting Kamaru Usman straight away?
Aye. How many times did he defend the belt? I think he deserves it. And he didn't show up that night. It wasn't a real, a true test of who is the best.
Exactly. I know.
Between the two.
Yeah. It wasn't. I mean, it was an extremely one-sided affair.
I'd love to see Woodley showing up as the Woodley we know and seeing what would happen.